Yeah, thank you very much. I have the great honor to introduce the Vice-Chancellor, Minister of Economics and Climate, Robert Habeck. We are very happy to have you here today. I think this is the combination of economics and climate is maybe one of the most pressing issues we face, not only in Germany, in Europe, but also globally. So again, very warm welcome, and I would now ask you to come to the top.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here, dear Professor Snower. It's so good to see you again. As some of you are maybe not aware of, we both spent some time together in Kiel. I left Kiel and the beautiful state of Schleswig-Holstein in 2018, and Mr. Snower left the Kieler Weltwirtschaftsinstitut in 2019, and then after how many, 5 years now, we meet again in Berlin. Mr. Snower, thank you very much for having me here, and good to see that you're well. Professor Kastrup, thank you very much. Mrs. Michaelis, ladies and gentlemen, I was asked to give you a brief note about the state of play of the German energy transition, or Energiewende, as we say, but maybe I can structure my little speech a little bit different. I know I'm standing here now on the stage, but I really appreciate this conference, also last year's discussion, as being kind of a round table. So I do it more freely and look you in the eye and not reading my prepared speech, hoping that we can find some form of interaction. My idea is basically to structure the speech along last year, last month, and today, and give you some impressions of my daily work and broaden it up for giving you some impression where we are standing and what my horizon of the debate between economics, economic affairs, and climate action is. So maybe I start with last year, and last year was very much a year of pressure on the German industry, still due to the cause that we lost half of our, I have to say, fossil fuels, but mainly natural gas supply due to Russia's aggression on Ukraine, due to Vladimir Putin's decision to stop the delivery of gas. And this hit the German economy and industry really, really hard. Apart from that, we had to see that all the other major economies developed green technology, green industry as a strategic aim and issue. I'm talking about the IRA, this is the officially subsidy program in the US, and I'm talking about the hidden subsidies in China. But they all have in common that they are, with hidden or open subsidies, featuring the industries to become green. So if you look to the world and how the development is moving forward, the decision is made. It's not a question of if we become climate neutral, but how and who is gaining the most out of it. And we see, and we have to be aware of, that this race and this competition is not one only among friends. Of course, we are partners with the US, but if you look at the IRA and how it's designed, it is designed also to create a prohibited market, a market with local content rules, also under the umbrella of a frame I'm working with industry or energy or economic security. Subsidies are given for production lines only in their own countries. Local content rules and also tariff systems are invented for that. The question is, how do we react in Europe and in Germany to that? And the first and political question is, of course, are we willing to react? And if we are honest to ourselves, the debate in Germany especially is too much with a thought of hesitation. Maybe we can't compete with them, maybe we have to be more slowly, maybe we have to stick a little bit longer into the world of fossil fuels and not pushing forward. And with that, we are losing speed and we are losing power. So if we are aware of what happened last year, we have to draw one conclusion, and that is we have to take up the race about green technology and green industry. And the question is, are we willing to do that? In Germany, we have done a lot of things to do that. We have rethought our position of CCS and CCU. This is now allowed or will be allowed soon. The law is in the German government right now and will soon reach the parliament. We have invested and designed a new system for the hydrogen infrastructure, and we have also given companies subsidies and money fundings for the transformation companies that are in the fossil fuel business, like steel companies, aluminium, glass, paper, and so on and so on. I think this is necessary for them. We should not lose all these jobs connected with them, and also the economic power of these companies. And then, of course, on the other hand, we are trying to build up the new economy, batteries, semiconductors, hydrogen. That is the aim of my work in the government. And we have really reached some progress in this in the last year. But still, my point is, also for your discussion for today, are we clear in Europe and in Germany that the decision is made? The question is, will the world will become climate neutral, but who is gaining the most out of it? Secondly, last month, I visited Ukraine, and this was a difficult visit for many reasons. You know that the military situation and the pressure on the country is really, really high. But there was one astonishing remark when I discussed the energy matter with my colleague, Herman Galushenko, and he pointed out, and that was repeated by President Zelensky later on, that now wind farms, they have a few in Ukraine and erected some also in the past 2 years under the pressure of the war. Wind farms now become an issue of national energy security, because a power plant is a target. 30 windmills, they are difficult to hit. And if you draw this line and bring solar energy into that, 20,000 households and roofs are also difficult to hit. So what they are now doing, of course, they are asking us to help them with turbines and all the stuff we can give away to stabilize the energy system. So it's not from one day to another they change to renewable energy. But the thing is that renewable energy now, under the pressure and the aggression of the war, are a security system, a security relevant part of it. And this counts also for Germany, I have to say. If you look to the figures of energy dependency in Germany, we now have a import dependency of 70%. Most of them, of course, fossil fuels. In gas, oil, and hard coal, we are up to 90%. Some of them, hard coal, we don't produce anymore at all. In Germany, up to 100%. Then there comes the electricity sector, but overall, it's 70% dependency now from energy imports to Germany, and this will be lowered by the phase of energy transition down to 30%, because we will produce a lot of electricity in Germany, and we will produce hydrogen also in Germany, and this is a source of energy security. We should not decouple ourselves from the world trade, of course, but be aware of that this is also an argument for the energy transition, I think, is necessary in the world we are living in. Looking to the figures, you have to see that speed is really taken up. We have broken all the records with solar panels last year, so PV is literally going through the roof. The amount of onshore wind farms in the permitting process of the first quarter of this year is exactly in the range we are needing for 10 gigawatt installation every year. So 2.7 gigawatt were permitted in the first quarter. It's a little bit delayed, of course, until they are built, but we are on path now. Maybe the most astonishing thing is the grid connection. When I became minister in 2021, we permitted and built 300 kilometers grid every year. In this year, we will build 1,500 kilometers and we will permit 2,400 kilometers. So see what is happening after 2 years' work And this is a result really of 2 years' work. This is not falling from the sky. This is the result of laws and fastening processes we have gone through, and the country is willing to do it. So all the hesitation, all the fears of politicians, you know, there was a famous saying in my ministry, the worst time for energy transition is the summer vacation. Why? Because then all the politicians were going back to their home countries, and for one way or another, good morning, one way or another, there's someone said, okay, you were gonna build a grid, I don't know, through this field, you can't do it, and I have local elections there, please stop it. And then, know what? They came back to Berlin and they stopped it. And with a fear that people will not follow. But this is not true. The country is ready for change. They want to have decisions made, but not sit there and wait and delay everything for the future. So see, we're moving forward with the energy transition in Germany. And the third remark I'd like to make is my today's meeting, we had a huge discussion about directional charging. You know, electric vehicles are becoming the leading vehicles form of mobility in the market. Look at the figures the IRA gave. I think they announced it here in this hall only some months ago. They expect every fifth, maybe every third car in the world in 2030 to be electric. Look to the Chinese market. What is happening in Germany with the solar panels is happening with the e-vehicles in China. They are literally going through the roof. And of course, the industrial point is are the German and the European automotive companies ready to take up the scale up of electric vehicles and defend their market share? But this is another discussion, not for today. Bidirectional charging is meaning that the e-vehicles are not taking energy only out of the system, but giving it back to the system. And as you can easily imagine, this is politically complicated. We have to design a new market. They need a price incentives. We have to solve the questions. You know, vehicles, they drive, so they are not a battery stationary at home, and you take the energy out and sell it back to the same provider, the same system, but you can drive from Berlin to Hamburg, and then you have different cost infrastructures and different providers. But this is all solvable. It's well underway. So that was my today's meeting. And the point that I'd like to make is, what does this mean for the economy? And I have the feeling that our discussion in Europe and in Germany is too much orientated or focused on a static view of things. Of course, you are right, or some are right, if you replace an existing capital stock, let's say a coal power plant, through renewables, you save CO2, but you're not automatically creating more growth, more wealth. But this is static thinking, I would say. Think about the telecommunication development in the past 15 years. Some of you are old enough to remember we used to have cable telephones. And I don't know what a cable telephone cost, but maybe 50 euros or whatever. And think about the cost of a mobile phone. This is maybe up to 1,000 euros or maybe 500 if it's cheap enough. So if you think about it only statically, why is there a sense replacing a cable phone by a mobile device? That is then economically nonsense. But of course, it's not. Think about all the ideas and developments that happened because we are now using our mobile phones to create new business opportunities, to share data, to see films on it, to text each other, to communicate in various forms, to organize our offices, all with the mobile devices. And this was not done from one day to another, but over the period of 15 years, the first mobile phones were heavy like this or big like this and heavy. And then suddenly we were able to text messages, then we were able to send pictures or to take pictures, and then we have the iPhone and the mobile phones we are having today. Bidirectional charging and all the other investments could lead to new market developments. They are not replacing a capital stock by a new capital stock. That could equal also plus minus zero. But they, of course, can create new forms of creativity, develop new business opportunities, using energy and share energy as the basis of new forms of developing things altogether, storing it, delivering it, making new products out of it, using electricity for heat, using electricity for chemical processes. This is all coming now. And that is my point. I think in the past years, we learned that the question, there's industry on the one side, or economic affairs on the one side, and there's climate action on the other side. And the one is the opponent of the other. If we are going forward with economic growth and industrial policy, then we have a problem on the climate side. And if we are taking climate issues seriously and doing climate action really as action, not as not action, then we have a problem on the economic side. This is wrong. We can see now in all major economies, but also in the growing economies of the global south, but also in Germany, if you look really into the picture and differentiate it, that the dynamic is taking up speed. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. From the competition view, Europe in a globalized world, from the security world view in a dangerous and difficult world, and from the economic perspective in a world where we need climate neutral forms of wealth and growth. Everything is speaking that we take up the speed but not leave the path. We have now in Germany, we have been able to bring the ship on course. We have to stay on the course. All the data are providing that this is the right way to go forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Minister Habeck. Yeah, we are about to change. Are we really ready to change? Are we really going to think non-static, dynamic, or are we stay with beggar my neighbor? And so this is about this conference. That's the core of this conference. Try it on a global level, what you just alluded to in Germany. Thank you so much for your coming. And now I have to fiddle with the micro here. That's for you. So somebody makes a photo now, I guess.